The Detroit Pistons drop to the Los Angeles Clippers as Kawhi Leonard puts on what might be the best performance I've ever seen someone give the Detroit Pistons. Drop 55 points as the Clippers take down the Pistons and send them 2-2 on their road trip.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Khahil. You can find me over on Twitter at Khahil. I've been covering the Detroit Pistons for the last 4 years for the Locked On Network, been a credentialed media member over the last 3 years. I appreciate all of you guys who make Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during the NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Later on, we'll talk about why I believe the Pistons have to make a move before the deadline. I feel like the last week and a half, 2 weeks, is really starting to – the team is still a good team. We'll get into it, but I think you're starting to see some weaknesses really pop off the screen, and they need to address them. Also, later on, we'll talk about why the Pistons or how the Pistons need to kick off or end off their road trip against the Lakers in a few days on a high note. But let's start with this game here where the Detroit Pistons, if you watch the game, that was a fake comeback at the end, a fake comeback gimmick at the end by the Detroit Pistons. They only ended up losing by 13. The score should have been, they should have been down by 30. The Clippers spent the first, there was a midway point of the fourth quarter where the Clippers were literally, They brought Kawhi in, stopped running offense, stopped doing anything. We're just trolling, trying to get Kawhi to break the record. Like that. This was not a comeback. This was not, the Pistons made it close, or, the Pistons finally found something. No, this was Clippers started trolling, trying to get Kawhi the record, and the Pistons say, okay, we'll score a few buckets while you start trolling. That's all that was. This was not a comeback. The Pistons got dominated from start to finish. They were getting obliterated in the first quarter. They got obliterated in the second quarter. They got killed. They got killed throughout the night. And for me, as I've told you guys many of times, I am a younger, I guess I'm not considered younger no more. I'm 28 now. I just turned 28 last week. But I didn't witness, obviously, the going to work team. So my time of starting to watch the Pistons was around, I've watched the Pistons in the 2000s, but I don't remember much. But when I was watching every game, my point is that it was 2010, 2011 was when I was watching every single game myself. From then on, the performance that I think of in my head when I think best performance I've ever watched someone have against the Pistons was Anthony Davis against Andre Drummond at the Palace in 2015, I think it was. Just absolutely obliterated him. That's the performance that always comes to my mind. Kawhi might have just usurped that. What Kawhi Leonard did to the Detroit Pistons tonight was a federal crime. He had 55 points on 17 of 26 shooting. I mean, he had 55 points on 82 true shooting. He was hitting everything. He was hitting deep threes from the logo, pulling up over everyone, midi. It didn't matter what it was. This was the greatest performance I've ever seen Kawhi have, and he was crazy on the defensive end too. He single-handedly killed the Detroit Pistons, and like I said in the fourth quarter, when I said the Pistons kind of had a fake comeback gimmick when they were just trying to get Kawhi to break the record because they were just going to Kawhi, not running offense. They did that in the second and third quarter. The second and third quarter, especially the third quarter, they just said, we're not going to run any offense. Just give Kawhi the ball and let's see if Kawhi can keep killing them. And he was doing it. It didn't matter who was in front of him. Now, I really did not like the Pistons' defensive process. Now, with him hitting how he was hitting, the process may not have mattered because the end result probably was going to be Kawhi Leonard made pull-up. Kawhi Leonard made pull-up three. Kawhi Leonard dunk on somebody. Kawhi Leonard layup. That may have been the end result no matter what. I did not like the Pistons' process defensively against him. I don't get the idea behind it. They had Tobias guarding him, and Tobias probably got 40 of the 55 dropped on him. Then they tried to go to Stu later on in the game against him, but all you're doing by putting Stu on him is having the Clippers call him up into screening action or getting him involved in screening action because they know he can't navigate screens as a five-man. So they just got him in screening action, and then they just got the mismatch they wanted every time. Whether it was Harden or Kawhi, they would just call up who they actually wanted, which is usually Duren, and then they would switch, and then they were attacking Duren one-on-one, forcing help, and getting a three on the weak side. So I really didn't like their process at all. I mean, Ausar only played, Ausar played 23 minutes, didn't have a good offensive game at all. But if you're going to play him 23 minutes, 22 of those 23 minutes was him guarding Harden. He's one of the best defenders on the planet, and you don't have him guarding Kawhi. Like, again, Kawhi was hitting so much the way maybe it didn't matter. The process also wasn't good. Again, like I said, the process may not have mattered, but I didn't like the process very much at all defensively. And then offensively, look, this is something we're going to talk about next segment. But this can't keep happening. This can't keep happening with the Pistons are starting Tobias. And they need somebody at the 4 position. We'll get even more into it later. But they need someone at the 4 position that can hit threes, man. They just do. This game, Duncan hit 1 3. Javonte Green hit 1 3. Ivy hit 2 threes in the fourth quarter, I believe. And then Cade hit 3 in the fourth. Like, that was their 3-point spacing here. You're not going to win game. They made 7 threes on the game, bro. Again, like I said a few episodes ago, the Pistons don't need to be the Boston Celtics from beyond the arc. They don't need to be the Houston Rockets from beyond the arc. And no one's saying they have to get up 50 threes and make 30. Like, no one's saying that. But 7 threes, you're only getting 29 threes up, which is already a very small amount. And then you're only making 7 of them. I mean, it's not going to work. I'm sorry, it's just not going to work. And when Duncan's your only legit volume 3-point shooter and he has an off night, you're cooked. You're just cooked. He had an off night in this game. He went 1-6 from deep. Once that happens, you're just going to lose. You're going to lose offensively because that's the only guy they can trust to score from beyond the arc. And I know Duncan is someone that people like to go after. But so before people say, like, oh, see, this is why Duncan sucks. He was shooting last 4 games, 40% from deep. Hit 4 threes against Charlotte, 3 against Portland, 3 against Sacramento, 4 against Utah. He just had a bad game this game, but because of the way this Pistons roster is built, when he has a bad game from beyond the arc and then you have a power forward that doesn't want to shoot threes, he only got 2 threes up, and now you're playing Stu and Duren together, and that's going to result in just a lot of shots taken from 3-5 feet from the rim. You're going to lose. You're just going to lose the game. That's what happened to the Pistons in this game. Now, Cade was terrible in the first half. In the second half, he woke up. He definitely woke up, especially in the third quarter. In the first half, he had 0 points. 0 of 4 in the first half. It just was terrible. Then the second half, he had 27 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. In that third quarter, he really tried to bring the Pistons back. They got the lead down to 9 in the third before Kawhi just said, nah, this is over with, and got the lead back up to 20 in like 2 minutes. But Cade had 15 in that third quarter, tried to wake up. He had 15 in the third, then Ivy had 5, Duren with 2, Duncan with 3, Tobias with 2. Like, he had no help offensively. And then the fourth quarter, 12 points from Cade, 7 from Javonte, 5 from Ivy, 3 from Paul Reed, 1 from Ausar, 2 from Ron Holland. He's not getting any help offensively in the second half. First half, it was on him. He didn't play well at all. If he plays better, the Pistons probably are in a better position with this game. But I feel like the bigger takeaway I had from this game was I did not like the Pistons' defensive process in this game. Like JP said after the game, by the way, I want to read this quote because this was not happening. He said, when he was asked about Kawhi, he said, we tried to trap him, we tried to deny him, we tried to send multiple bodies to him, give him credit, he's a hell of a player. That's for sure true, the hell of a player part, but the Pistons really didn't try doubling him until the end of the game. They left Tobias on him, and they were sending late bodies. They weren't sending multiple bodies at him when he was taking one dribble, then sending bodies at him. When they were sending bodies at Kawhi, Tobias had already allowed Kawhi to get to his spot, and now you're trying to rotate over with late contest. That doesn't do anything. You're not sending doubles with him as soon as he puts the dribble down and forcing the ball out of his hands or anything. They were allowing Tobias to work one-on-one most of the time. And then once he got to his spot, then they were sending a double. But once he gets to his spot, it doesn't matter at that point, especially if he's hot. All he has to do is elevate. If you're not blocking the shot, he's already at his, 13, 15-foot pull-up jumper, and now he's just going to drain it. Like, at that point, your mission needs to be to stop him from getting to that spot, because once he does, you're cooked. So I don't agree with this answer from JB. I don't think they did that really at all. I don't think they denied him much at all either, to be honest. I don't think that's look, I watched the game. If you guys have a differing opinion, let me know. I don't think that's what the Pistons did defensively at all. I think they lived with Tobias on him for a long time. Then they started to try to send late bodies at him when it was too late. Then they tried to stew on him at the beginning of the fourth quarter or the end of the third, and they were calling him up and getting screening action involved and just getting switches on Duren. And then around like maybe the 4-minute mark of the fourth quarter, then they finally decided to outright double him and then start, getting the ball out of his hands. But at that point, the game's already out of hand. I don't feel like that should really count as something they tried to do. The game had already been going on for 38, 40 minutes at that point. Like it was, I don't know. I didn't like their defensive process, but their offense, man, look. Cade needs someone else offensively. They need to get someone who spaces the floor. They have to get someone else that can shoot the ball. They just have to. This is something that's going to continue to become a problem for the Pistons. It is a problem for the Pistons. And coming up, I'll really get into why the Detroit Pistons have to make a move at the deadline or before the deadline. We'll break it down coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays always feel different during the basketball season. FanDuel is making them even better. With Friday night, even before the game tips off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action even starts. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And again, I want to thank you guys for helping me make the Locked On Sports, or the Locked On Podcast Network, I should say, the #1 sports podcast network in America. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. You get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Pistons, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. And you'll also get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer, my goodness, Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of Locked On Pistons as well. You can go to lockedonpistons.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more below. This game for me really put on display how urgent I believe it's going to be for the Pistons to make a move at the deadline if their objective or if their goal for this season is to go deep into the playoffs. Now, that may not be their goal. For Pistons fans, I feel like a lot of Pistons fans, because of the way the Pistons have started this season, that's their goal, I believe now. I think Pistons fans' goal now is they want to see this team compete in a wide-open Eastern Conference and try to get deep into the playoffs and give themselves a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, give themselves a chance to represent the East in the NBA Finals. I think that's what Pistons fans want. Whether that's what Trajan wants, I think is another story. Whether that's what the organization wants right now, I think is another story. I'm really interested to see where they stand with this, because if you look at, let me pull this up. Where'd it go? I just had here we go. The New York Knicks are chipping at the Pistons' heels. The Knicks are now 22-9. The Pistons are 24-8. The Pistons at one point were 15-2. Since then, they are 9-6. So they haven't been the same team over the last 16 or so games. And I think some of their warts are starting to come through. And if Trajan Langdon has a goal of they want this team to be competitive deep into the playoffs, which again, I'm not sure if he does, because last year he made it clear he wasn't expecting the team to be even as good as it was last year. I'm sure right now he wasn't expecting the team to be this good this year. So maybe he just sticks to his guns and he sticks to his patient approach of, if they don't win this year, if they don't win a playoff series this year, who cares? That wasn't really part of the goal anyways. Part of the goal was just, letting young guys develop. If that's the case, then, remove this segment from the podcast. It is what it is. It doesn't matter because that's not what his goal is. But if his goal is that, Tobias Harris, they have to upgrade from Tobias. They just got to. When you watch Pistons games from now on, after I bring this up, when I bring this up, I want you guys to watch for this every game. Take a shot every time Tobias makes an above the break three. He's shooting 29% above the break threes. I mean, it's just absolutely killer. It's killing the Pistons. Not only does he not really get any threes up, he also is just not hitting any above the break threes. He had one tonight, and it's becoming my and again, let me make this clear. Tobias has been a great veteran. Tobias is a great locker room presence. Tobias has been a major part of the culture turnaround in Detroit. I'm not minimizing any of that. But his above the break three-point shooting is starting to get to the point of nails on the chalkboard for me, like Sadiq's lack of passing was when he was with the Pistons. You guys remember back when Sadiq was with the Pistons and every time he drove the basketball and someone was wide open, he got to the paint, someone was open, he could have made a read, and he went up with a shot and missed it, and I'd come on the podcast every day like, bro, I can't keep watching this. This is killing me. And then ended up with what he did in that Mavericks game that literally was the play that got him traded. I swear to God it was. You remember that, those days? That's what's happening with Tobias threes for me. Every time the Pistons get two on the ball and then kick out to Tobias above the break, and he either, one, doesn't shoot it because he doesn't trust it, or two, he does shoot a wide open above the break three and he misses it after the Pistons get some good process offensively, I feel like clawing my eyeballs out. It's absolutely killing the Pistons half-court offense. And if you're going to run a half-court offense of a team that's surrounded by Cade, Asar, and Duren, I don't know how much more clear this has to be. If you're going to build around those guys offensively, if that's the core of your team, then you need the 2 and the 4 position to be high-volume three-point shooters. Those guys have to be the ones that get the 3 up. Those guys have to be the one that draws gravity out. And when teams don't want to guard them and suck down on a Duren roll or a Sar cut or on a Cade drive, those guys have to be the one to consistently make defenses pay for that. Because if they don't, teams will just continue to help down on Cade. Teams will continue to help down on Duren. Teams will continue to take away Asar cuts because they know they don't have no one else on the floor that they have to really worry about. They know those shots are easier shots for the Pistons, and they don't believe anyone else on the floor is wanting or willing to make them die for it, basically. Duncan is able to at the 2. And for the Pistons fans out there, the Ivy fans that want Ivy there, I mean, sure, Ivy, a lot of his threes are threes. Or a lot of his shots are threes. So, I mean, if you want to go ahead and include Ivy in that, I guess. I wouldn't, but if you want to, sure, go ahead. Put him at the 2 and say, oh, there's the other three-point shooter. He's only getting 3 threes up a game. Now, I know he's not playing a lot of minutes. Actually, let's look at his per 75. Per 75, 7.2 threes a game. What's Duncan? I should have done this before. Honestly, let's look at it. Per 75. Yeah, so about 2 threes less than Duncan. So obviously not the level of shooter, but as Duncan. But he gets a lot of threes up in his limited minutes. So, yeah, Ivy, you want to throw him at the 2. At the 4, they need another guy like that. They just do. Tobias is not cutting it. And then, look, the team is still in a very good position. They are 24-8, okay? 24-8. Though, I would say, like I said, the Knicks are coming. the Knicks are playing really well the last month. They've been really good. So that may not, the Pistons being at the top of the East, if this keeps happening, that may not last very long with how good the Knicks have been. Last 20 games, the Knicks have the 4th best net rating in the league, 3rd best offense. So Pistons got to correct some things. But my point here is, I don't want to say this, but I do. I'm going to say it anyways. JB, some of JB's rotation decisions is killing me too, and it with his trust in Caris LeVert and his trust in Tobias, it's it's starting to frustrate me. Tobias being the one that guards Kawhi tonight, like they deserve to get 55 dropped on them. And like I said, they can say they were throwing bodies at them. I want you to go back and look at Kawhi, all of Kawhi's shots. Now, again, did Kawhi hit some tough shots? Of course. Like I said in the first segment, the process may not have mattered. But the process wasn't good. Go look back and look at all of his shots. By the time those late bodies got there against Tobias, or with Tobias against Kawhi, Kawhi had already gotten to where he wanted to get to, and now it's just about elevating. If you can't stop him from elevating, you're cooked. It's over with. That was just maddening. I don't understand that. Like, they did this same thing, like, against Boston. They had Asar guarding Pritchard instead of Jaylen Brown while Jaylen Brown's destroying Tobias, and then Pritchard's just in the corner not doing anything. It was the same thing tonight. Like, Asar, one of the best, I think the best perimeter defender in the NBA, one of the few best perimeter defenders in the league. He's guarding James Harden while Kawhi Leonard's going scorched earth. Now, again, if Kawhi was going to drop 55 on Asar, then you go down with that. That process, you live with it. If he's going to drop 55 on your best defender, then it is what it is. Like, okay, it is what it is. But if he's going to drop 55 because your best defender's not guarding him and you have everyone but your best defender guarding him, that doesn't make any sense. Now, again, Kawhi was so hot that maybe he drops 55 on Asar. Maybe he does. But I have to believe that's not as much of a chance as it is with guarding him with Tobias or Cade, who had 3 fouls, by the way. And some of the time, like in that first half, they had Cade guarding Kawhi still in the second quarter where Cade was dealing with 3 fouls. So obviously he wasn't going to be overly physical or aggressive with them. If you're going to play Asar 23 minutes, and everyone knows I'm a big Asar guy, but I'm not going to come on here and act like what makes Asar is his offensive game. I'm not going to come on here and act like you're playing him 23 minutes because he dominates on the offensive end of the floor. That's not what happens. You're playing him that because he's one of the best defenders in the world and he can shut down an opposing player. For him to not even get the assignment of Kawhi, at least after he's already dropped 30 in the half. Like, that's frustrating. JB just trusting Tobias as much as he did on Kawhi was very frustrating to watch. Watching him continually trust Tobias with the ball in his hands and key stretches over the last 2 weeks is very frustrating to see as well. Him trusting Caris LeVert as much as he has. There's two true statements here with Caris. Caris was good for the first month or so. He was good. People who said that Caris was good, they're not lying. He was good. But now we have about a month of him being really bad. Like, he's been bad for a while now. He was good. He's no longer good. As the evidence changes, so should your rotation. And the only reason why Caris didn't play a lot tonight is because he ended up getting hurt and had to come out the game. Caris hasn't been very good. Tobias is hurting them in key situations. And then some of the decisions that you have with the rotation is just like Ron. I spent time talking about Asar. Ron was really good tonight. Really good on both ends. He got to the basket a few times, had some really nice finishes, 2 really good finishes. And he was really good on the defensive end too. And he only played 18 minutes. Why? Why is he not playing Why is he only playing 18 minutes? Why is Wu coming into the game and playing 13 minutes when Ron is playing really well and you have Asar out there as well? Like, why is Wu coming in? Why is Tobias still getting 22 minutes where he's getting absolutely obliterated on the defensive end and offensively he's providing you nothing? Why do we hear all the time that the Pistons defensive person or their identity is defense, but yet their best defensive players don't play? Why is that continuing to happen? You have 2 freakish athletic defensive wing players. If you have James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, who I believe scored the first 20 points for the Clippers, you have 2 guys who are fully equipped to guard both of them. Instead, you're hiding one of them on one of the guys and then allowing the other guy to just torture your other matchup. If there was ever a game to run a 9-to-5 lineup, it was this game. It was this game right here. And again, like I said, Kawhi was so hot that maybe it didn't matter. But that doesn't mean the process just goes out the window then. It doesn't mean you just say, oh, well, Kawhi scoring whatever. You might as well just put Ivy on him. Kawhi's going to score whatever. Just put Duncan on him. Who cares? He's going to score anyways. That doesn't make any sense. The process has to be at least understandable. And if you're going to put other guys on Kawhi and then double immediately, off on first dribble, double, and get the ball out of his hands, then I even would have understood it there. But they weren't even doing that. It was like I couldn't. It was very frustrating to watch. Their offensive game was terrible, and they need to make a move because they need someone who can help Cade offensively. They just got to. They got to make a move for someone who can hit a three from at the 4 position. However that has to happen, they need to make it happen. If they don't care about being the first seed in the East, if they don't care about winning playoff series this year, then fine. Just don't worry about it, and you can make a move in the offseason. If that's the case, who cares? We'll just watch for development. I'll watch for Ivy to start making shots. I'll watch for Ron to start making some good passing reads. I'll watch for Asar to be aggressive. I'll watch for, I don't know, Stu to start hitting threes, I guess. Like, if that's what the goal is, then just let us know so I can start changing how I evaluate the games. Well, if we're evaluating these games and evaluating this team as an Eastern Conference contender, this will kill them in the playoffs. This absolutely will kill them in the playoffs if they don't get someone else that can hit a three. They just need it. This was a very frustrating game to watch. I mean, Kawhi bent them. He killed them, bro. He just killed them. He absolutely killed them. Coming up, we'll talk about how the Pistons can close their Western road trip on a high note against the Lakers, the other LA team. We'll talk about it coming up. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So the Pistons close out their Western road trip against the Los Angeles Lakers. They will be back at Little Caesars Arena on the first day of 2026. Crazy to think that 2025 is already over, and we're already looking at 2026. It's crazy. Time flies by fast. But the Pistons will be playing the Lakers on the 30th, another very late game at 10:30. Right now, they are 2-2 on this Western road trip. I said before the road trip started that the Pistons were better than all these teams they were going to play. They could go 5-0, but Western road trips are very hard, especially when it's 5 consecutive games. It's going to be very hard, and I won't be surprised if they drop a game they shouldn't. They've now dropped 2 games I feel like they shouldn't have dropped. That Utah game, they should not have dropped. And then the Clippers, allowing the Clippers to dominate you when they were a 9-win team before this, allowing them to dominate the way in which they did. I feel like that's borderline unacceptable. Like, the no-show in the first half from Cade was unacceptable. The offensive performance from everyone on the floor was unacceptable for about like 90% of the game. And then we've just spent so much time talking about the defensive process I really didn't like. So, I mean, there's 2 games right there. You lost to teams that are quote-unquote worse than you. If there's someone who wants to argue the Clippers are actually better than the Pistons, I'd love to hear it. They've been awful all year. So that's a bad game to drop. You lose to the Jazz, who are a tanking team. And now you wrap up against the Lakers. You cannot go under 500 on this road trip. If you go under 500 on this road trip, I'm not pressing the panic button, but the panic button, like the cover on it, is being lifted. The button will be lifted. I won't hit it, but it'll be there. I'll be glancing over at it if they go under 500 here, because the Lakers are also another team that not only I don't think is very good, they're also not playing well at all recently. This is a team that is over 500, but they are 20-10 and 4th in the West while having the 15th best net rating in the NBA. They play like a middle of the pack team. Their defense is absolutely horrid. They have the 24th best defense in the NBA over the entire season. And then if you look at their last 10 games, they have a minus 5.3 net rating, 23rd in the NBA. They have the 28th ranked defense. You go over the last 5, they have a minus 6.1 net rating, 27th in the NBA. They have the 27th ranked defense. They are not very good. I know they got Luka. I know they got LeBron. I know they got Reeves, Reeves is actually out for a while, so he won't be playing against the Pistons. You see those 2 names, you think they're a good team. I'm telling you, they are not a good team. They are one of the worst defensive teams in basketball, and they are playing absolutely horrific basketball, especially over the last 10 games. The Pistons lose to the Lakers after losing to the Clippers and then also losing to the Jazz. I'm getting concerned. I'll get concerned here. There's absolute zero reason they should lose to the Lakers. The Lakers are not good. You beat the Lakers. You end the road trip 3-2. You can walk away from this like feeling, look, it was a long road trip. These are always hard. We ended up making it out over 500. We'll take that as a win. Now we get to come back home, regroup, have a day off, and we'll be fine. It was just a rough stretch. It is what it is. Every team has to deal with these long road trips. We'll be all right. That's all that was. If you lose to the Lakers and you go 2-3 on this stretch, when everyone was talking about the Pistons have the easiest schedule, they're just being bad teams, blah, blah, and then you lose to the Jazz, you get destroyed by the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, and then you go out against the Lakers, a Western Conference team that has 20 wins, and some people may believe it's a good team. I don't believe they are. You lose to this team, now all of a sudden those narratives will start getting brought back around, and all of a sudden people will start trying to push those narratives again. They got to be able to beat the Lakers. They just have to. This is a Lakers team that struggles against any young team that can run and push the tempo. The Pistons should be able to dominate them with that. They're a very good defensive team. They should be able to get stops and run on this old team. They have an old team, and the guys who are younger don't want to run. The Pistons should be able to handle their business relatively easily, I think, against the Lakers. The Pistons' problem, go against a team that can shut them down defensively. Lakers can't do that. They can't do that. I almost want to guarantee a win to the Los Angeles Lakers, but with how the Pistons have played over the last 2 games, I won't do that. But end the road trip 3-2 and you're good. 3-2, it is what it is. We erase those 2 games. We wipe them from the memory. It is what it is. Everything's fine. For what it's worth, though, even with these last 2 games of losses, the Pistons' last 10 games, they are still 4th in net rating. Last 5, it drops a little bit to the 7th. They have the 12th best offense over the last 5 games, not very good. Over the last 10 games, they have the 6th best offense. So recently, it's not been looking good, obviously, but you extend it over just a little bit larger of a sample size. It's not like they've fallen completely off the face. It's just a rough 2 games here. Get a good win against the Lakers and you're smooth. Let me know, comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. Do you guys think the Pistons will get a win over the Los Angeles Lakers? But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there, and peace out, everybody.